Get to tonight, the race to contain the spread of measles here in the U.S. Tonight, cases now confirmed from New Jersey to New Mexico after turning deadly in Texas. Here's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, the urgent fight to curb the spread of measles, with cases reported from New Mexico to New Jersey and the deadly outbreak in West Texas. Officials warning this is the tip of the iceberg and could last months. In New Jersey, a child who had traveled internationally was hospitalized in Bergen County. Two close family members of the young patient were later infected. All three unvaccinated. The New Jersey Health Commissioner saying so far the virus appears to be contained.
The Department of Health is in contact with the cases and that we are doing safe contact tracing. We're out there trying to keep this contained.
But in West Texas, alarm growing after measles claimed the life of an unvaccinated child. The first death from the preventable disease here in the U.S. in a decade. 124 confirmed cases there, but tonight officials tell ABC News that number could be much higher. At least 20 pediatric patients admitted to the hospital since the start of the outbreak, all unvaccinated. Even more patients expected to test positive in the coming days.
Measles was basically eliminated in this country in 2000, but unfortunately, if we continue to see prolonged, sustained outbreaks, we may lose that status.
Measles is highly contagious, transmitted through droplets in the air or touching infected surfaces. The CDC saying 90% of those who are unvaccinated and come in contact with the disease will contract it. The virus is most contagious 4 days before the rash appears and 4 days after. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has promoted anti-vaccine views in the past, saying the outbreaks are not unusual.
It's not unusual. We have measles outbreaks every year.
David, doctors say that we do see outbreaks each year, but what's really concerning here is the rate at which these cases are climbing. David?
Ariel Reshef on this again tonight. Ariel, thank you. Tonight, the British Prime Minister visiting the White House with an invitation from King Charles for a second state visit for President Trump. The Prime Minister seeming to go out of his way to say this has never happened before, a second invitation from the King. The Prime Minister's effort to connect with President Trump. He then urged the President to support Ukraine. And President Trump was asked today, will he apologize to President Zelensky when he visits tomorrow after calling Zelensky a dictator, but repeatedly declining to call Putin one? Here's Mary Roos.
Tonight, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer traveling to the White House to convince President Trump to support Ukraine. And to set the tone, he began with an invitation tailor-made for Trump.
This is a letter from His Majesty the King. It's an invitation for a second state visit. This is really special. This has never happened before. This is unprecedented. I think that just symbolises the strength of the relationship between us.
The Prime Minister clearly trying to warm Trump up for the tough conversation to come. The two men discussing a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, differing greatly on whether to trust Vladimir Putin. Trump adamant Putin will keep his word.
No, I have confidence that if we make a deal, it's going to hold.
Today, for the first time, the president saying he will try to convince Russia to return some of the land they've taken from Ukraine.
We're going to certainly try and get as much as we can back.
At a press conference later, the British Prime Minister declared the UK will put boots on the ground and planes in the air to support a deal.
We discussed a plan today to reach a peace that is tough and fair, that Ukraine will help shape, that's backed by strength, to stop Putin coming back for more.
Trump has faced questions about whether the U.S. will defend its European allies against Russian aggression. Today, he was asked point blank if he will stand by Article 5, which says an attack on one NATO country is an attack on all.
I support it. I don't think we're going to have any reason for it. I think we're going to have a very successful peace, and I think it's going to be a long-lasting peace.
It comes as the president prepares to meet tomorrow with Ukrainian President Zelensky, whom he called a dictator just days ago.
Will you take the opportunity to apologize to him for calling him a dictator while praising Vladimir Putin, who is a dictator?
I think we're going to have a very good meeting tomorrow, 11 o'clock, and I think we're going to have a very good meeting tomorrow morning. We're going to get along really well, okay? We have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for him.
And tomorrow, their high-stakes meeting here at the White House, the president and Zelensky will sign a deal to share Ukraine's mineral resources. But Zelensky is also looking for security guarantees from the president to prevent Russia from invading again. And so far, Trump hasn't been willing to give them. David.
All right, Mary Bruce at the White House. The president pointing out it's 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. He's meeting with President Zelensky. Thanks, Mary. Tonight, the case making global headlines. Two brothers, Andrew and Tristan Tate, charged with human trafficking overseas. They've now arrived in Florida. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis saying they are not welcome in his state. The brothers, who are vocal Trump supporters, were asked if the president helped get their travel ban lifted and what the president said today about their return. Victor Akendo in Florida tonight.
Notorious influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate today touched down in a private plane in Fort Lauderdale, raising questions about how the brothers charged with human trafficking were free to fly to the U.S. from Romania after a ban on their travel was suddenly lifted. The brothers have denied the allegations against them, today casting themselves as victims.
We live in a democratic society where it's innocent until proven guilty, and I think my brother and I are largely misunderstood. There's a lot of opinions about us, a lot of things that go around about us on the internet. We've yet to be convicted of any crime in our lives ever.
Andrew Tate, a self-described misogynist with millions of followers, is accused, with his brother, of forming a criminal group, allegedly luring women to Romania and sexually exploiting them. Andrew was also charged with rape.
I will state right now that I am absolutely sexist and I'm absolutely a misogynist.
Police raided the home of the far-right influencers and arrested them in 2022. Andrew, a vocal supporter of President Trump, just weeks ago posting on X, "The Tates will be free. Trump is the president. The good old days are back." Today, the brothers ignored questions about whether the president paved the way for their travel.
Did Donald Trump help get the travel ban lifted?
The Tates are also facing criminal charges in the UK. And during that visit with the British Prime Minister today, the president said he knew nothing about it.
You're saying he's on a plane right now? He's back. They already did. Yeah, I just know nothing about it. We'll check it out. We'll let you know.
And Governor Ron DeSantis saying the Tates are not welcome here in Florida. For months, some Trump allies have been calling for an end to the prosecution of the brothers. David?
All right, Victor, thank you. When we come back tonight, another CEO targeted, multiple shots into his home. Also, the discovery tonight just outside New York City, dozens of birds found dead amid these concerns of bird flu, where they were found. And look at this, the school bus up in flames. And tonight, the bus driver being called a hero, what that driver did. Tonight, after the murder of that healthcare CEO in New York City, police are now investigating another insurance CEO targeted outside Portland, Oregon. Authorities say a hooded suspect was seen on surveillance firing multiple times into the home of Safe CEO Chip Terhune. No one was hurt. The CEO says he had received a threatening email. Tonight, a school bus driver is being praised for saving children on a burning bus in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, heading to Monticello Middle School when it suddenly burst into flames. The driver getting all 15 students safely off that bus. When we come back tonight, the discovery just outside New York City amid these concerns over bird flu. And Diane Sawyer with Gene Hackman on the magic of acting and heaven. To the index just outside New York City tonight, dozens of dead birds found on a beach on Long Island, now being tested for bird flu. Roughly 40 birds, including ducks and geese, discovered at each patchogue. The beach is now closed to residents there in the meantime. When we come back, Gene Hackman with Diane Sawyer, his childhood dream, and those moments, the closest thing to heaven. Finally, Gene Hackman in his own words. Gene Hackman said he always looked for characters who were conflicted.
If somebody changes somehow, or somebody has some kind of a conflict in their character that you have to see resolved as an audience, that's always interesting me because I think all of us have that.
He recognized he lived a life and a career he dreamed of.
It's all I ever wanted to do. So few people ever get what they really want in life. You give up a lot in terms of family. I think you're always in North Africa or Spain or someplace. But it's a make-believe world, and it's what I wanted to do as a child.
And this is what he told Diane Sawyer on the magic of acting, collaborating with another actor, the closest thing to heaven he could imagine.
I desperately wanted to be an actor from the time I was 10 years old, but I was so shy and so intimidated by the process.
What was the thing you wanted in acting?
I suppose to be transported to somehow or another to
to play these people who seem to have this great life.
What do you mean by anything? What do you think I mean?
For me, I suppose the most enjoyable thing I do is when I can make a scene work, when I feel I've contributed to another actor, where it's electric and where you've satisfied yourself that you've done everything you can to make that come alive. That to me is heaven, I suppose.
One of the greats. Good night.
Friday night. Where's the one place to see the stars, the nominees?
Mind-blowing, powerful,
Audacious, so fun. Countdown to the Oscars with Robin Robert.
Don't be wicked, Robin.